All right, let's get right into it. AI, it's not just coming for writing, it's already here. It's totally reshaping the entire landscape. And that means we're looking at some absolutely incredible opportunities, but also some really, really big challenges.
And it kind of boils down to this one question that's on every writer's mind. Are we really going to see a robot write the next Harry Potter or The Great Gatsby? That's the big idea, the central conflict we're going to dig into today.
So, first things first, we have to get one thing straight. This is not some sci-fi, far-off future stuff. Nope. The AI writing revolution is happening right now, today, as we speak.
I mean, think about it. Writers in every field are using these tools for pretty much every part of the creative process. It's become this go-to assistant for everything from coming up with that first idea to, yeah, even drafting entire chunks of text. It's everywhere. Okay, so let's start with the good stuff, the promise. For a lot of people, AI is seen as the ultimate creative sidekick. It's a tool that doesn't replace you, but actually amplifies your own skills and abilities.
And you can see why it's so appealing. I mean, we are talking about mind-blowing speed. You can create content at a massive scale. It can totally obliterate writer's block, help you generate stuff that Google will love, and even translate your work for a global audience almost instantly. It's a massive boost for efficiency.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, a writer might ask an AI to brainstorm, say, a dozen different titles for an article. Then they'll have it create a solid outline. Then maybe even generate a rough first draft. But, and this is the most important part, that final step is all human. That's where you come in, to edit, to refine, and to inject your own unique voice into it. Now this is super interesting. Look at where AI is making the biggest splash. In fields that are heavy on data, like financial reporting, or that have a lot of repetitive tasks, like marketing, the impact is huge. But when you get to the really nuanced, emotional world of fiction, the impact is, well, it's just medium. It turns out the machine is fantastic at recognizing patterns, but not so great at, soul. Okay, but for all of that amazing promise, there is a much, much darker side to this whole revolution. We have to talk about the very real ethical, legal, and professional dangers that are hiding just beneath the surface. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. The Authors Guild pointed out that to train these AI models, companies basically scraped the entire internet for books, articles, you name it. A lot of it unlicensed, copyrighted material. They call it, and I quote, the largest mass copyright infringement in history. And this really gets to the core difference between us and the machines, right? Human creativity comes from our lived experiences, from our emotions, from genuine originality. AI, on the other hand, is a super sophisticated pattern matcher. It just remixes and regurgitates the data it was fed. It doesn't actually create anything new. Which leads us to one of its most dangerous flaws, something called hallucination. This is when an AI literally just makes stuff up. It invents facts, quotes, sources, and presents them as if they're 100% true. You have to remember, these things are designed to give you a plausible answer, not necessarily a correct one. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Even the companies that build these tools, like Microsoft, are waving giant red flags. They are explicitly telling us, you have to fact-check everything. Because the AI's goal is just to complete the text in a way that sounds right, not to tell the truth. And the risks don't stop there. There's the danger of flooding the market with bland, generic content. There's the fact that AI can perpetuate biases from its training data. And then you get into some really scary stuff, like creating incredibly convincing phishing emails or misusing all the personal data we're constantly feeding into these systems. So, what does the law have to say about all this? When it comes to who owns what, it turns out there's one thing that matters more than anything else, and that's the human factor. So here it is, the bottom line. Under current law, only a human being can be an author and hold a copyright. That's it. An AI is just seen as a tool, an inert entity following instructions. It can't own what it creates, any more than your word processor can. And look, this isn't just a theory. We have a real-world precedent. In the case of this comic, Zarya of the Dawn, the U.S. Copyright Office made a really important ruling. They gave the author the copyright for the story she wrote, the dialogue, the human parts, but they flat out denied copyright for the AI-generated images because they said they lacked human authorship.
And that has huge real-world consequences for writers. It means if you use AI to generate big parts of your work, you are legally required to disclose that on your copyright application. Not only that, but it could even violate your contract with a publisher, since those almost always require you to promise the work is 100% original to you. So you've got this incredible promise on one side, and this serious peril on the other. So where do we go from here? Well, it looks like the future isn't about replacement. It's about a brand new kind of partnership between humans and machines.
I absolutely love this quote from the Authors Guild. It just perfectly captures this idea. They say to use AI only as a tool, a paintbrush for writing. Think about that. The AI isn't the artist, it's the paintbrush. You still need a human artist to create anything meaningful.
So if you're going to use this new paintbrush, you have to learn some new rules. Rule 1, never ever use AI text word for word. You have to make it your own. Rule 2, fact check everything. Just assume it could be wrong. And finally, be transparent. Be honest with your publishers and your readers about how you're using it. That integrity is everything. And here's why that human touch is always going to matter. Big players like Google are already making it clear. They are going to prioritize high-quality, helpful content that shows real human expertise and editing. They don't want a search engine flooded with low-effort, robotic junk. Quality will always win. So let's go back to that metaphor. If AI really is the new paintbrush, then the real question isn't whether a robot is going to write the next bestseller. The real question is, with this incredibly powerful new tool in your hands, what amazing story will you create?